Good morning, LPES, and happy day before Thanksgiving. I hope all of you are home in your houses or wherever you might be. Maybe you're not home, maybe you're at another family member's house, or maybe at daycare or wherever you are. But I hope you're having a good morning, and I hope that you are getting excited for the holiday tomorrow if you celebrate Thanksgiving. So, around this time of year, we talk a lot about things that we are thankful for, right? We talk a lot about the word thankful and what it means. So I want you to pause just for a moment and I want you to think of what it means to be thankful. So just take a moment. Think about it for yourself. What does it mean to be thankful? And when you think of being thankful, what pops up into your mind? You don't even have to say it out loud. Whatever it might be. A lot of times when we talk about being thankful, when I'm with my younger students, it might be things that are kind of silly, like thankful for our iPad or thankful for our favorite game. A lot of times when we talk about being thankful, it might be for our family. It might be for mom or dad or grandma, grandpa, whoever it is taking care of us. Maybe we're thankful for our house. But today I want to talk to you about a word that's slightly different than thankful. Similar, but different. And that word is gratitude. And gratitude, or being grateful, is kind of similar to being thankful, right? It's talking about these things that we appreciate, these things that we are grateful that are there in our lives. And one of the interesting thoughts that I had this week, actually, I didn't even have it. I have to be honest. I took it from somebody else. But I heard this week and I thought, oh my goodness, I need to share this with our students at LPES. The idea is that in order for us to be happy, in order for us to find joy, it all starts with being grateful. In fact, let me grab something. I'm going to show you something that I have right now. Sorry, I forgot it on the other side of the library. So, one of the things I want to show you today is the tiniest little way that our gratitude can start. Let's see if you can see it. Can you see what that is? You might not even be able to tell. I may have lost it. You might not even be able to tell from that angle. Oh, I found it. It's okay. But it is a teeny tiny, itty bitty little seed. This is actually an apple seed. And what I want to talk to you about today is how gratitude and being grateful for things is actually just like this seed. So let me rewind a little bit and explain. So when we're practicing gratitude, it can be for anything. And in fact, today I'm going to encourage you to find gratitude, to find what you are grateful for that isn't big, that isn't something huge in your life like family or your house or anything like that, your shelter, your food, your clothes. Instead, I want you to find the tiniest little things just like my tiny little apple seed here. I want you to try and think of something incredibly small that you are grateful for today. It could be something simple like right now, but your chair underneath you, having a space to sit and do your work. Instead of just saying you're grateful for your tablet because you get to play on it or your computer because you can do your games, maybe you're grateful for the laptop that you're looking at me through or the iPad that the school is lending you so you can do your learning at home. Maybe you're grateful for whatever clothing you have right now that's keeping you nice and warm on this cold morning. I think it's going to be a cold morning. This is actually being recorded on Tuesday, so we'll have to see what the weather is tomorrow. When we practice small acts of gratitude, teeny tiny little things, those are just like when we plant a teeny tiny little seed. Now, I have something really cool to show you guys because I thought to myself, Mrs. Heftler, you might honestly be a bit too boring for a morning lesson all about gratitude. You got to get somebody else in here who's interesting. And no, it's not the other Mrs. Heftler, though she'll be back at some point. It's someone much better than that. And so I brought with me today our awesome, wonderful, creative art teacher, Mrs. Moore. And Mrs. Moore has been so kind because she's agreed to do a drawing as we're talking about gratitude. And as we're talking about what it means to show gratitude and what comes from that. So you're going to hear my voice, and then you're going to see a pair of hands drawing something that, goodness knows, Mrs. Heftler would never be able to draw as nice as this. And it's actually Mrs. Moore who is so kind to do a drawing for Mrs. Heftler and for all of you so that we could talk a little bit more about gratitude and how it's just like this teeny tiny little seed. So, my friends, I need your brains on, okay? Even if you're just listening right now, we don't have to be thinking too hard about this, but I want your brains on so that we can really focus on this gratitude, this idea. So when we plant this seed of gratitude, if you picture it going into the dirt, just like a seed of a flower would, from that gratitude is going to grow so much more. From that gratitude, those tiny little acts of finding something that is beautiful or finding something that brings you joy or comfort, the more we practice that, it's like we're watering that seed. It's like we're giving it sunshine and sunlight. Same thing, Mrs. Heftler. It's like we're giving it sunshine and water and warmth and everything that seed needs to begin to grow. And from that seed is going to come something beautiful. In time, as we watch, as we're patient, from that seed is going to come joy and happiness. Now, here's the tricky thing. Sometimes we think it's the opposite way around, okay? Sometimes we think we need to have happiness and joy in order for us to be grateful. Do you understand? Let me say it one more time. Sometimes our brains think that we need to be really lucky and have all of the things or all of the success or all of the good grades or being the star on our soccer team or having all the money we possibly can, especially for grown-ups, then we might think we need those things in order to practice gratitude. But that's not the case. From this tiny little seed, from these little bits of gratitude is going to grow this beautiful flower. And that flower is representing happiness and joy. You see, as we're watching Mrs. Moore's drawing and going back and forth, the problem is sometimes if we don't plant the gratitude seed first, we're going to constantly be looking at other people's gardens. We're going to constantly be looking at other people and what they have and thinking, oh my goodness, they have so much more than I do. Oh my goodness, they are so much luckier than I am. Oh my goodness, they get so much more attention than I do. And if we think that, if we are constantly comparing ourselves to others, if we're constantly looking at what other people have and thinking, I don't have that, I don't have as much, or I don't have as nice things, or I don't have as much money, or I don't have the same grades or the same abilities as these other people, if that's what our seed is, we're never going to be able to find happiness. We're never going to be able to find what a lot of joy feels like because we're always going to be walking around comparing ourselves to those around us, thinking about how they look, what they have, what they're able to do, and the things that we're not able to do. We're not going to feel good about ourselves. We're not going to be kind to others because we're jealous of them. We're jealous of the things that they have. But if we take this little seed and instead of filling it with jealousy or want, if instead we make this little seed gratitude, then every little thing we have and we're grateful for it, every little thing is going to bring us joy and happiness. It could be simple things like feeling joy about having fresh water to drink. It could be simple things like having a soft pillow to put your head on at night. It could be simple things like having clean clothes to wear, or having a house to go home to, or a room to go home to at the end of the day. Whatever it might be. All of those things, when we start to recognize them as these little tiny little seeds will eventually grow into us feeling more joy, feeling more happiness, feeling just better overall. Now, that's not to say that sometimes we're going to have bad times. And it's certainly not to say that right now, with everything going on, life is easy, because it's not. Having to wear masks all the time, having to be socially distanced, having to only come into our school building 2 times a week, or learn virtually at home 3 days a week, or for my parents and teachers who are listening, having to have students learning virtually, none of that is easy. And I'm not saying that this tiny little seed of gratitude is going to fix all of those problems. It won't. And it's okay to be angry sometimes. It's okay to be sad or disappointed or frustrated. Absolutely. But what I am saying is that by taking these tiny little seeds of gratitude, the more we recognize those little things around us, the easier it's going to be to deal with the bumps in the road when they come. Because there are going to be times, days, weeks, months, maybe even years like 2020 that are hard, that are challenging, that are really tough to get through. And practicing gratitude isn't a magic wand. It's not just going to make that all disappear. But when we start to change our perspective, when we start to change how we're looking at things and what we're paying attention to, it makes it a little bit easier. And hopefully overall, when we look at the big picture of life, not just these times like right now that are so challenging, it's going to make us happier and to bring us more joy. So I want you to pause for a moment right now as we're doing this, and as we're, I'm not sure how this edit is going to work, but I think that you're probably nearing the end of Miss Moore's beautiful drawing, or maybe we've already gotten there, and that's okay too. I do want you to think about 5 things, 5 small things that you are grateful for, that you feel gratitude towards right now. Just take the time. I'm going to play some nice relaxing music. I'll give you a minute or 2. And I'm going to sit here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to think about 5 things that I feel grateful for. Small, little, itty bitty, tiny, little apple seed size. Okay? All right. Take a minute right now. As usual, as we're doing this, always helps to take some nice deep breaths too. Breathing in that sense of gratitude, breathing in those things that we're grateful for. Hopefully you are able to come up with 5, even if they're small, even if they're tiny. The more that we point these things out to ourselves, the more that we recognize those small things to be grateful for, the easier that's going to become. Just like the more you practice your multiplication facts, or the more you practice your spelling words, the easier it is for you to know them, for you to know the right answer. The same thing goes when we're practicing gratitude. The more we do it, the easier it becomes to just kind of walk through life and take those moments of being thankful, being grateful for the little that we do have. And it helps us to stay focused on us and what we have, and not always comparing ourselves to the world around us, to other kids or even grown-ups. Because grown-ups do it too, around us and what they have and we don't. So we've talked about doing some grounding exercises in the past. Do you remember that term? In fact, I think I was sitting right here last time we talked about it. We did our 5 senses check-in, where we checked in with what we could see, what we could hear, what we could smell, taste, and feel, right? And I talked about how that's a grounding exercise, and I was trying to explain it to you guys, but I don't know if I did a great job on it, and that's okay. But when we're talking about grounding ourselves, it means that we're staying in the present moment. It means that we're focused on what's happening in the here and now. We're not thinking about what's happening tomorrow. We're not thinking about what happened in the past. And when we practice gratitude, that's in the here and now. That's thinking about the things that we are grateful for in this exact moment. What's in front of us, what we're feeling, what we have, what we're experiencing, whatever it might be. And I love to talk about grounding with you with this exercise because as you saw in Mrs. Moore's beautiful drawing, we are literally, with this idea of this teeny tiny seed, we're literally talking about things that are in the ground. We're talking about ways to feel connected, ways to feel like our feet are firmly planted on the earth and we are ready for whatever happens. Now I'm going to share one last picture with you. It doesn't have to do with flowers, this one, but it's the same idea. When we're talking about gratitude, I almost want you to picture that we have a string. And at the end of the string, way up in the air is a kite. And I want you to picture that it is an incredibly windy day. And you're holding onto that kite string with both of your hands as tightly as you can. That kite is going to get whipped around. It's going to get pulled by the wind. Sometimes it might look like it's going to crash down into the earth, but it won't. That wind is going to move that kite all around, and we might not be able to control it. We might not be able to predict what's happening with the kite. We might not have any control over what's going on with it. But we do have control over holding onto that string and staying on the ground with it. Right? As long as we have the string and we are on the earth, we're firmly planted, whatever's going on with that kite up in the air, flying around through the breeze, doesn't matter because we still have it in our hands. We're still controlling it. We're still holding on in that way. Gratitude is holding on to the string of that kite. Whatever else happens, it's going to happen. Those rough times are going to come. Those times where we can't hang out with our friends or be with our family, they're going to come, and it's going to be hard. But if you practice gratitude, you still have that string tightly in your hands, and at some point, the wind is going to calm down. At some point, it's going to be a beautiful, peaceful, sunny day again. Our gratitude is the thing that can keep us firmly planted on the earth. It's the thing that can make us feel safe and happy, and hopefully, our gratitude can grow from this tiny little seed into that beautiful flower, into joy, into happiness. I wish each and every one of you a very happy Thanksgiving. If you're celebrating Thanksgiving, I wish each and every one of you just a relaxing 4-day weekend. You've come a far way, my friends, from September. Whether you're learning at home, or you're learning at school, or you're going back and forth and doing both, or whether you're a teacher hearing this, or a parent hearing this, we've gotten through a lot together in these past few months. We're going to keep going. And for today, even though I'm breaking my own rule about being grateful for small things today I am grateful for each and every one of you. I'm grateful for my friends who I teach with here, who I get to see inspire young minds every day to do backflips to try and keep their students engaged. I'm grateful for my students who work so hard to try and get their work done and to sit in front of these computers as best as you can and listen to Mrs. Heftler talk on and on about kites and flowers for over 20 minutes. And parents, we're grateful for you for the help that you are trying to give at home too. We're all going to get through this together. We're all going to hold tight onto those kite strings together, my friends. I will see you when we come back from break. I cannot wait to talk to you more in the future. Have a great 4-day weekend and happy Thanksgiving.